Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of the Firefighting Female. I'm Rhonda, and with me today are three of my absolute favorite people, my sisters from Wheaton Rescue Squad. This is Heather, this is Shannon, and this is Veronica. So, most memorable calls, what were they? I know Shannon and mine.
Pendleton Drive every single time.
Right. I mean, nothing beat Pendleton Drive.
I think one of the first gnarly call I ever ran, it was before I started doing squad stuff, and I was the aide on the ambulance, and the air condition never worked in the back, and it's like August or something, it's hot as and I'm running some kind of diabetic homeless guy or whatever, and he's wearing all of the clothes he owns, right? All of his clothes. He's wearing shoes, boots, and it just socks, and he's got foot pain, and so I'm like, all right, I get my what were the thick blue gloves, P2s or something like that? They were like dishwashing gloves. They were so thick. Put those bad boys on, and I take it off, and I take off the ones, and it reeks, and this sock is damp. I'm like, fuck.
Oh my God, I would throw up.
I take it off. I got the one tiny little slidey window open on the back doors of the ambo, and his foot has got maggots.
I was going to say maggots. I knew maggots were coming into this.
He had maggots, and I just transported him.
Right. I put a plastic bag over top of him.
I'm breathing out the little window. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
I think Kevin Howard was. I think Kevin was driving, but it was just.
I'm like itching thinking about it.
I did too.
I'm like, oh my God, gross.
Yeah, and they were all. They were just like. I didn't even take off the other shoe. I'm like, what am I going to do?
No, there's no point in going any further at that point in time. Nothing you can do.
Hello, Holy Cross. There you go.
I'm still itching thinking about it.
Yeah,
right. And now you're seasoned as a vet person, so you probably took off a lot of maggots. But now that's off animals. It's different.
Right. Yeah, that was gross. That one. And when I remember coming home and telling my grandmother about that, they were so supportive of me for having been raised by my grandparents who were, obviously born in, depression. They were super supportive of me as a girl doing fire rescue, which was kind of like they were ahead of their time a little bit. But like, she's like, that's so great, honey.
Go burn your clothes outside.
That's right now. Yeah.
Right. I love it.
Yeah, but that was like the first one I can recall that I was like, do I really want to? Yeah, I do want to do this.
Exactly. I know. Veronica, what was yours?
Well, so most memorable?
Memorable, yeah.
So I was driving the medic unit. I won't name all the players, but there was a medic, there was a medic intern, and then co-pilot in the back.
Did he refer to his protocols book a lot? No, go ahead.
And
was he missing a finger?
No. And so we picked this very small Latino, kind of guy over at the club, Umberto's or whatever. I don't know what it is now.
Say it isn't so. There's a club in Wheaton. Spaniard
and
in Wheaton?
And apparently, the police patted him down. He's fine. He's this. He's just ETOH. And I was like, okay. And we're like a hop, skip, and a jump from Holy Cross. So we get in, and I was like, do you want to go lights and sirens? He's like, no, we're good. Just go routine. I'm just going to call in something, whatever. And I don't think we were out on Georgia Avenue yet. And then, or we were on Georgia, just past Chuck Levin's, and we're, driving down. And he's like, I'm going to call for Narcan. And I'm like, okay, because I guess he started to whatever. And I look back at Dennis Avenue. I'm like, do you want me to call the police? Because I could hear stuff. You look in the mirror and you can kind of see back.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I was like, called for the police. And then I look back and I'm like, I'm pulling over at August and everybody get out. So we pull her over because I could see like stuff was happening. But it was weird because there wasn't a lot of noise. Only the medic was saying, you need to stop, you need to stop, you need to stop to the person.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So we pull over, everybody jumps out, and then I'm like, oh, I left the keys in there. So I run back, and they're like, no! And I'm like, I run back. Because just, I think, the week before, somebody had taken an
taken.
Oh,
yeah.
So I'm like, that's not happening on my watch. No way. So I run back in there, and I'm like, oh, I pull up the key, and they're screaming at me. And as soon as I pull the key out of the ignition and jump out of the unit, he's jumping through
The front into the front.
into the front. And he's like, you know, and we had called signal 3 and nothing. And again, I was like, you know, I'm going to hit the button again, you know, and I'm like, what is happening? Apparently, everybody was somewhere else. And it seemed like forever, you know, and this guy's just like, and later, we finally, one police car came, and he tased the guy 3 times.
Oh.
He
He was
was on
small,
some good-
98
Yeah.
pounds soaking wet.
Yeah.
And still he's going. And finally, so it seemed like for an eternity, but finally, once he tased him the 3rd time, like everybody came. Chiefs, engine, you know, a couple other police got him down. And then the medic's like, I need a cheek, give me a cheek. Because he had finally gotten the orders for Narcan or whatever it was. Because it was before we had it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay. You
Wow.
know, and it was like a minute. And then it's like,
Yep.
you know, but
Stuff
I'll
works
never
fast.
forget
Yeah, it worked very
because
fast.
we took him to Holy Cross, and when we took him, I was like, "Is everybody okay?" And we were out there. I was like, "Is everybody okay?" And Jackie's like, "A little sore." She had his footprint on her thigh.
Oh.
This one. She was standing because she was in the little cubby seat because she was doing the medic intern stuff, and she jumped up, but she couldn't get out, and he was just kicking her right there. And but it was just one of those things where it was so like
Started out like this.
Routine.
And then went to
Right.
11.
immediately,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I was just like, oh my
It
God.
happens. It
Yeah.
happens
It
so
happens.
fast.
But
so
I was,
fast.
you know, the whole time, you know, what I was focusing on, I got the key out of the ignition.
Hey, that's all that matters. Right?
I'm not going to have to tell him
Right.
I lost the
That's
unit.
the driver tonight, baby.
That's right.
For
That's
me.
right.
But the cops, they all had paperwork.
Oh yeah. Sorry for their luck.
We're in service for the next
That's
call.
like the time I lost Justin out of
Oh,
old 29.
that
That
was
actually messed me up
crazy.
a little bit because I thought for sure I was going to run him over in that moment. That this was responding to a call, probably like 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. I'm turning left onto University right at the IHOP. And it's like a really good wreck, like one pinned or it's a fire. I can't remember what the call was,
So
but
you're
it was
like
like, we're hauling
rushing.
ass.
Yeah.
And there's no traffic. You know, and 29 was kind of abused at that point. And I'm doing, it's a big wheel, so I'm starting to get into my big turn. You know,
Right.
I'll
Get
my
your
big-
ass
That's
into
what you
it.
get.
Get your ass into
I'm
it.
on the seat. You're standing up to do it. I used to have to stand up to turn that bad boy.
Because the
I'm
seatbelt
coming
thing isn't
around.
beeping at you to
Right.
put on,
Right.
right?
What's a seatbelt?
Exactly.
Right. We never used a seatbelt.
Oh, and it was
Parents
like,
have
it was
thought.
just a lap when I
Right.
had. But anyway, I'm going into my turn, and I'm turning, and I look over, and the door, the officer side door is wide open, and Justin is gone.
Oh, my.
And I'm thinking, okay, I've lost him in the turn. You know, centrifugal
He's
force
down, and the
pulled him up.
keys are going to be in the door.
I know I'm going to hit him with my back wheels because you know when it tracks.
Right.
You know,
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm going to run over him, and I bring it to a stop. You don't just stop it. It's
Right.
a big vehicle.
Yeah.
And I get out, and he's rolling all over the intersection like this.
Oh
and
my
of course,
gosh.
he's in
Only
shorts and a
Justin.
t-shirt.
Right,
Of course
right.
he is. He's covered in road rash. But what had happened
He's
was,
laughing.
you know, I mean, it was
He's like,
scary as
oh, face.
Oh, he was hurting. He was because he thought he was hurt too. Fortunately, nothing was broken. He was fine. He just lost a lot of skin in that. But like, you know, I had to get on the radio. I'm like, replace this on the call. Send me a duty officer and an ambulance.
And a
I'm just down the
psychologist.
road, like literally a couple hundred feet from the station. But that old door, when he was getting up to like start to put on his pants or whatever, he kind of hit that latch.
Oh, yeah.
And I had started my turn, so all the
All
centrifugal
out,
force,
right.
and he just went bloop.
And this was old
Out.
29?
Old 29.
Yeah, because
yeah.
you didn't have to do much to get
No,
that.
Right.
no. I mean, it was all loose. I mean,
Yeah.
it rattled going down
Yeah.
the road. It was rattling, you know, and we know this because we didn't have hearing protection.
Right.
So you could hear it.
We
But
had nothing.
Yeah,
I
No
actually went
seatbelt,
home.
no nothing.
I
Right.
went home after that because that actually upset me because I'm like, oh my God, I could have run
Right.
him over, and it would have been an accident, and it wouldn't have been my fault, and it wouldn't have been anyone's, but it would have been, I would
would
have
have
felt
affected you.
very
Right.
responsible if he had been seriously injured. But yeah, he was just covered in
Oh.
scabs for a long time.
See, good
Love you,
story.
Justin.
That was
Right.
traumatic, though. You like your
it was,
cortisone.
and I still think
Right.
of that,
Yeah,
you know,
cortisol,
and I never had
that's
to
your
leave the
PTSD.
station after a call.
Right.
I only had left the station. I was like, you know what, I'm out of here for the rest of the night. I need to. But
I need to go home and have my Miller Lite.
I think I know it's
Right.
probably shots.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to the pub.
Going to the pub. Oh, the pub.
half price pizza.
Right. Karaoke night.
Oh, heavens.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. But
Good
that
old
would
pub.
never fly now because you have to, you know,
Oh,
your gear has to be
yeah.
on before you get in the truck.
Right. You got to be seatbelted in. Or else,
Yes,
You have to
know,
make sure
yeah,
everybody's
That's
in their
right. You
seatbelt.
get this on, and you're not even looking in the ADC map anymore. What's
No.
an ADC map? Well, tell us, Grandma.
Right. Never.
What is that?
Seriously?
The map book. Now it's just
Where's
like,
the map book? I know. The first time I got in, there was no map book. They're like, "What?" I'm like, "The map book. Where's the map
Yes.
book? I got
That
to
should
read
be
the
part
map.
of the checkout.
Who reads a map?" I'm like,
I'm
"Okay."
going quadrant A.
Yes,
over
yes.
the seven.
And then you got to go to the next page
you
because
gotta
the
go
shit. Yeah.
It's
Right,
always on the next page.
right.
You start here like, I got to, now
Yes.
I'm going
And
to
then,
Silver
like,
Spring.
Or if you're in the ambulance, half the pages are missing.
Right.
You're like, me, and you're reaching.
Right.
Oh my god!
And
And then
it's
it's
like-
upside down.
I was like, I don't know. I can't figure out. Well, what do you do? Look for the flames.
Or it's like Selfridge, where it's like 10 breaks
Oh,
in
yes. And it's not in the
Oh
map
my
book.
God.
Yeah.
And then you miss
Never in the
it, and
map
then
book.
once you do that, and you end up where you're not supposed to be, you're stuck
Or
at the
the barracks.
station.
Are the barracks
having,
still there?
Oh,
The barracks
yes.
I always
Yeah,
got
that was
turned
the
around back
worst.
there.
Oh.
Always got
Oh
turned
yeah,
around.
yeah, yeah. And God
heavens.
help you if there was an intersection closed. I'm like,
Right, right,
now what?
right.
Shannon, what was your most
Yeah.
memorable?
Our call that we ran together. Oh, wow, I won't forget that one either. This is back. You remember when we would get the printout, right? Your call sheet. Okay, you need to go to print it off the printer. And
Back in the day.
Yes,
Yeah.
back,
Back
in the day.
Get the printout, get the
problem was,
printout.
We were out all night.
Oh, yes. You'd be like,
I mean, we were out all night. I was driving. You were riding the seat. And we had a brand new person in the back.
and we got that call.
So yeah, because literally, it was nonstop from the second we got in at 6 o'clock. I don't think we ate. Just call after call
call.
after call. So we didn't know what we were getting into. We had no printout, and there was no computer back then.
Right. What was the address? What?
Yeah,
It was
right.
behind
What
Inwood
was it?
House. I know it was behind Inwood.
That book.
So it's like now 2:30. We're thinking, all right, we can get now like 3 hours of sleep. You know, like you're
'Cause we had to
counting
get up
down
and go
the
to work,
hours of
right?
sleep, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, and then they're like, ambulance 742. We're like, your location is like.
And we
So
were
off
coming
get.
back. We were coming
Right.
back from
we
Holy
were
Cross. We're like,
almost home. Of course.
That's the worst.
It was the worst. So anybody like sick person on whatever street. Okay, fine, no problem. So we're like, all pissed off. So we're driving down there. We just get out. We're tired, right? We get everything. We're coming out. Jump bag, oxygen. We're doing our thing. I got the radio. She's walking up, and all of a sudden, I yell, "Get back in the ambulance!" And the new girl's like, "What?" And Shannon says, "We jump back in. We are shaking. There is a
Yep.
very large person, okay, outside of this pitch black house. The outside light was on, wearing a ski mask with just 2 eye holes, and the light was being flicked on and off. He's holding a flashlight under his chin like this.
Oh, that's creepy.
I said, "That's it. Tonight's the night we're getting put in the freezer."
That's
They're
exactly what it was
telling us
like. We were like,
I
we,
mean, I'm like,
we
get
backed
in.
up the unit,
So
up
no,
the street.
no, we pulled forward to a dead end. I'm like, I need the police code 3. We were freaking out. Oh, it was like crazy. It doesn't sound much like when we're talking about it now.
No.
But with there, that
Let me
moment,
tell you what.
you
In the
see,
moment,
and it was
yeah.
there
At
was
the
it was
moment,
dark as shit on the street.
Pitch black, and I mean, this person was huge, and we're just seeing the flashlight going underneath the face like this, and it's like, oh my god,
some
it was like a
screamy
horror
stuff.
movie.
It was. We
Right,
were like,
it was a horror
what the
movie.
fuck?
Before
So
Scream.
the
Yeah.
police come, zippity doo dah. We're at the end. I'm like, of course it's a dead end, and I'm like,
Right.
lock the doors.
And you're like, oh.
So then the police get to the scene, and they're like, okay, ambulance can come in.
I'm like, I'm not going in. First,
So we go in. This man says, when I called 911 for his mother, who has Parkinson's disease and was shaking a lot more because he had just brought her home, he wasn't ready for how she was going to be. He got scared and called 911. They say, go outside so that the ambulance knows your house and illuminate yourself in the house
With a ski mask?
wearing a ski mask over your
Yes.
face.
and a
So-
flashlight.
Was it cold?
No.
No. I mean, it was the freakiest thing. So we're doing our thing. We take this person to the hospital, and he had attitude for some reason.
I mean, this was before. I mean, this was when they weren't even promoting scene safety, right?
Right.
I mean, I was an aide, so I had to have been, I don't know, 19?
Yeah, something
19,
like that.
18,
Not
19.
if it was 742. Or,
No, it's like ambulance 23 or
I was
something.
gonna say, I can't
Yeah,
remember what we
no.
used to call them. I'm so used to calling it
Yeah,
75. Ambulance
right.
25,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
they
it
were.
was 25, and it was a piece of unit,
Right.
of course. And then we're like, what if it doesn't start?
Yeah,
We're stuck. You're
23,
like,
Right.
24,
you know, this dude's
25.
about
I
to
mean,
murder us.
I thought we were going to
22,
die.
22,
I
yeah.
truly thought we were going to die that night. So anyway, we just took the person in, and then we said, how would you feel
Yeah.
if you know,
2:30 in the morning.
right, if your 3 daughters went up to a stranger's house to be met by a very large person wearing a ski mask with a flashlight turning on and off under their chin? I mean, come on.
Right.
True.
Right.
And he finally was like, yeah, and then the whole thing just dropped after that. I mean, crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
It
But it was crazy.
It was
It
insane.
was-
I thought that was going to be the end right there.
Is it Halloween? I mean,
I
Yeah,
don't know.
no,
And I mean,
no.
like, out
the
of the,
ski mask is kind of strange.
It
still
was.
to
It
me.
was. He was.
I mean, out of the
And he was
countless,
literally. And he was like this. Like he was like this kind of like thing,
huge,
And he was like
right?
literally standing, like in the door, like
Oh,
it
it
was
was
dark,
scary.
and I'm like,
yeah, it
what
was
the-
scary. Countless fires, countless
leave the
pin
run.
jobs, trap jobs, and that's the one that was like
Right.
the scariest thing.
Right.
It really was. You know, it's a crazy.
And you're right, scary because think like you said, you would crawl on the floors. You go into all these spots you don't know. You're putting yourself. You know,
Yeah.
you just and we never talked about scene safety back then.
Yeah.
that was not a thing. Now EMT refresher class, everything.
Right.
What's the
Scene
first thing you
safety.
do? The person's
Yes,
dying. What's the first thing you do? Scene safety.
BSI. BSI.
Right.
Yes.
When we start talking about people that I have forgotten about, and then you bring up a story about them, it just it's like it was yesterday.
I know, right?
It's so cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the coolest thing about being in the fire service is the extended family that we've built, truly. And
And it never goes away if you bump
it
into that
never
person.
goes
Yeah.
away.
True.
And it's like when I was in Philadelphia for my niece's wedding, we had a free day. And so I'm just wandering the street. I'm like eating my way through Philadelphia. They've got some good food there, as you can imagine.
It's a good city to eat your way through.
And suddenly, I'm like, I need a bathroom. Well, there's a firehouse. I was like, cool, a city firehouse, you know? And it reminded me so much of the old squad because it was this dirty, just
Yeah.
tiny little
Cringy
thing.
little
It was a
thing.
pit. I mean,
Right.
it was a pit
the
on Graham.
best.
Petri
It
dish
was
of
the best,
fruit.
right? So this firefighter sees me coming in. He's like, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Yes, you can, my good man." I said, "Can you direct me to your bathroom?" And he looked at me like I was crazy. I said, "Hey, I'm Rhonda from Wheaton Rescue Squad in Montgomery County, Maryland." And then all of a sudden it was just like
Yeah,
that. Like,
yeah.
come on in.
Yeah.
Eat lunch. That's all I had
That's
to
your
say.
swipe card.
Right? That's all I had to
Yep,
say.
yep.
It's gotten me out of a few police tickets too. But
Yep.
I mean, truly, it's wherever you go, just from doing this.
Yep.
Everywhere.
Common language.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a common
sure.
language. It's a brother and a sisterhood that will always forever be.
And it does transverse career and volunteer and retired and just not doing it anymore. It is just a common bond, and that it just transcends everything. And it also goes over to police officers too, because
Right.
they'll do.
They-
obviously, they drove you guys home the other day.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
they'll do whatever for you,
Well,
and
Shannon
we
was
would do
threatened with
whatever for them.
violence.
But I think that's cool. I mean, because you have each other's backs always.
Always, no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because, I mean, we just started telling stories. Like, each other had stories. I said, wow, a city firehouse, this is so cool. I bet you guys run fire every day. And they said, well, no, I mean, we go out
Yeah.
on so-called, I said, oh, us too. And then we just started sharing stories. And it's so similar, but completely different.
Right.
And I'm so glad that we were, at the firehouse when we started. It is, we were talking about that because some of these guys have been around for eternity and they started off as volunteers in their small towns and then got hired. Some weren't even in from that state. And I mean, we would just tell about pranks, the fun, and thinking now if we did that.
Oh my God. I think some of the stuff that was said or the teasing or whatever to me, and I mean, first of all, it would be completely unacceptable.
Right,
Never.
Right.
But I never once, ever felt threatened. I never felt repressed. I never felt that I wasn't able to, because I got the captain. I never felt that I was not permitted to do any of this. And in terms of the NGA rule, that's what was said, but
It
it's
was
not
funny,
what,
right.
not what happened. It was just like, he would be like,
He was
get on,
protesting.
kind of thing.
Right.
I just,
Right.
across the board, not just,
No,
I'm talking
in
like
society as a
everything.
whole. Right,
yeah,
right.
I'm like, oh
Society
my
as a
God,
whole.
just rub some dirt on it and get over it. No one
That's
is trying
exactly
to
right.
hurt your feelings, okay? Because if I wanted to hurt your feelings, I would hurt your feelings. But I thank God every day that that's what I grew up with and how I came up in the fire service and what I got to enjoy. And again, I never felt like it wasn't the best experience of my life.
Oh yeah,
I
the
agree.
best.
I
Absolutely the best.
never felt like you're right. Like you never felt uncomfortable.
If I wasn't being teased, I'm like, oh, they don't like me.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
Right,
right.
exactly
And you
right.
know,
Yeah.
and you're right. And
Yeah.
we grew up in it, and some of us, started obviously younger than some did, and it was like the hard knocks of life. That's how we learned.
Yep.
Like when I was in fire class in 2004, I went to practice for my final at Station 18. The lieutenant at the time, who was one of the instructors, was at 18. So he's like, "Come up, Gallagher." It was like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and my mother-in-law come and watch the kids, and then I came up and down the extend the ladder, the off of the truck, and whatever, all the things that I needed help with, that and like carrying stuff, because I was also not tall and not broad,
Right.
like when I would put the stamp pipe,
It would
I
slide
was
off.
doing this.
Yeah,
I
you're
wasn't
holding it
doing
more.
this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Whereas there, they just throw it on
On
there. It's
their
like,
shoulder,
oh,
yep.
it's nothing. And I'm like, okay, for
Yep.
sure. So, but I did that. And I had to go to the ladies' room. So they don't have a ladies' room. They have a bathroom.
Right. Right.
So I get in there, and it's like a stack of Playboy
Right.
or whatever. I don't know,
Right.
something, girly magazines. And I'm just like, okay. But it's just that
Boys
whole
will be
thing. Where,
boys.
can you imagine, like, any of these
Oh, yeah.
girls now?
Oh,
You
they'd
know,
lose it.
doing that.
The
They'd be like,
firehouse be shut down.
Yep.
yeah.
Right. Oh,
I'm gonna write
absolutely.
it up. I'm gonna take pictures. I'm gonna call everybody.
Right.
How offended I,
Right.
like,
Sad.
Yeah.
Very
and it
sad.
was like, to me, it was like, this is a dude's firehouse.
Yeah.
I'm here as a guest.
like a frat house.
Right. It's
It's a
like
frat
boys
house.
will be boys.
a
That's
frat
right.
house.
Right. And that's
I'm
what
gonna
it is.
do what
It's
I
a frat
need to
house.
do and get out.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
But
That's the
yeah.
same firehouse that they'd go hunting and they'd take deer carcass and
hang
put
it.
it in the
Yeah.
hose
Right.
tower to drain.
Yes, that's right.
The first time I saw that, I was like, oh.
Yeah, one time I cooked for them, and I remember it was an all-day production just because I was helping her on the medic unit,
Right.
which was the chase car. And we got the food, then we went on a call. I was like, well, I have perishables.
Right.
I'll leave you at the scene.
I
It's
can't
not
get
by
my
the
food.
station.
I said, just drop me back off. My gosh, this is ridiculous. So back I went, and I started preparing my lasagna. It was a production. I'm so happy with it. And within 3 minutes, they ate it. I'm like,
Yep.
that was it. Did anybody like it? Did
You gotta
anybody
eat
even
it
taste
before
it?
call comes.
I mean,
Eat fast.
really, just eat fast and run. And I mean, how many times did we grab our food and run on the unit? Now, God help you if you bring
Yeah.
a Cheeto on there. They're
Right.
going to like,
Right.
you're banned for life because there is no eating on the units anymore.
Right.
And then during COVID, when Veronica and I would
My
ride
gosh,
together.
that day.
Oh,
that
yeah, we
one
had
day,
one
though.
day that
Oh.
we were riding together. I took off of work. Actually, we had like mandatory off days at work, like
Yeah.
once every 2 weeks. So I just go to the squad.
We
from
did
the-
it a few times, but that one day
That
was
one day
like-
was brutal, and we were with the paid people. And every call that went out, they're like, "Can you guys take it? Can you guys take it?" And we're like, "Sure."
We never.
We didn't
We were
stop.
out. We got there. What, 7?
7 a.m.
We were gone. Boomerang call. Go to the next call. Go to the next call. I think we got back 8.
Oh
at
yeah,
night.
and then I was supposed to be there till 11 because I was riding with Lori that night, and you were supposed to be off at 6, but we just couldn't get back because every call took hours.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Because they had to
Because-
clean the unit, they had to clean you. You had
They
to change.
that was when they were already clean. They were deconning the unit
Right.
for us.
I'm so glad I was not riding.
It was brutal.
I was working as an EMT, but I wasn't running calls. I was at the
And I came in and ran
retirement.
some calls with you guys.
Yeah, you came in with
Yeah.
us at night. I
Yeah.
remember riding a call with you at night too, because it was me, you, and Lori. Stay tuned for next week's adventures of firefighting female. Until then, be safe, take care of one another, and as always, thank you for your dedication to the communities that you serve.